Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Make Life Less Taxing podcast, the show where we uncover what really creates freedom in life and business, and we'll explore stories of those who've learned how to build wealth with purpose.
Welcome back to the Make Life Less Taxing podcast. Today, I'm joined by Agnes Lee, co-founder of WD GANN Traders, and a guide for professionals who want to bring more clarity, confidence, and control into their financial lives without all of the noise that's out there. Agnes, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Great to have you on. Agnes, can you share a bit more about who you are and the work that you do?
I am a former advertising executive turned trading educator and business builder. I have 20 plus years experience leading teams in 4 ACE agencies like Ogilvy, J. Walter Thompson, Gray Advertising. And I know exactly how that feels being a senior professional in those organizations where you have a lot of responsibility that comes with a lot of pressure. And today I built this company with my trading mentor and my business partner, Kit Wong. We want to help senior professionals to trade part-time without quitting their job using the Golden GANN code, which is based on the WD GANN method.
That's awesome. Now, you've got quite an interesting background in the marketing. What was it that originally drew you into this world of financial markets? Because I feel like marketing and financial markets, they're not related.
They are totally not related. So that was like, my first-hand experience that I saw loyalty is so disposable in a corporate life. So I was doing well. I deliver results, and I even led a campaign for a financial institution that earned a free upgrade to the first page of a reputable financial paper. So think of it in the old days that it's not digitalized, that the physical paper, if your ads has to be appeared on the first page, it's a lot of money. And we earned, because our campaign was so impactful and creating such a movement, that they give us a free upgrade. So, but when the business downturn came, I was the first one to let go in the company. And I still remember that conversation that my boss had with me. He was the managing director of the company. I don't want to speak less of him. Even today, we're friends. And every time I go back home in Hong Kong, I go and visit him. And then he said to me like, because we have to cut budget. And then, he felt that he can just replace me. And because I was like a department head, he would just replace me. And then I said, okay, basically I have no choice, right? So I have to go. And then interesting, the client that I have helped give me an opportunity that I never thought of before. And it's a very interesting opportunity. He hired me as a corporate marketing person for the company, for the financial institution, because they are in the process of rebranding. And they thought they want to bring a marketing person in. And the first task I was given is to interview all the department heads. And most of them are for because they hire people that they want to rebrand their company. So there are people from Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, those reputable firms. And then another group is a group of traders. And my boss wanted me to talk to the traders because for better understanding about the products, financial products, so I can communicate and market to the public. So what I got out from all the interviews are very interesting. So you will be thinking, the people from Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, they're smart people, and yet they are very smart people. But the traders are so different. I noticed there is something very different from them. They don't care about, what people are talking about in the organization, whether there is any reorganization that may result in layoff or stuff like that. They just focus on doing good at what they are doing. And I like that kind of independence and just focus on doing what they are good at, because when they focus on what they're good at, they bring in the money, they just leave every day, shop, 4 p.m., go for a drink, and that's it. And I think it's that kind of independence that drew me to trading and ultimately learning how to trade.
That's an interesting story. And when you talk about corporate, put it that way, I think from very young age for me, I called myself unemployable. I could not go work corporate. There was one company that I was working with where we had to go and have an office. And I'm like, no, I don't think so. I don't want to work in an office because it's just the environment where I would not survive. So I totally identify with what you're mentioning when it comes down to corporate. And unfortunately, when it comes to corporate, unfortunately, there's not that relationship that you were just kind of talking about, right? Like they're looking at, yeah, you got to reduce money, but let's figure out where we can go and do that. Instead, it's kind of like, well, you were kind of unfortunately disposable. But sounds like though it led into something that, obviously you're doing right now. So even though it might seem and was maybe painful when it was happening, it kind of helped you to bring you to where you are at right now. Was there a moment where kind of trading or teaching someone really clicked for you as more than just the numbers, more something that actually changes lives?
So I am not the one who is teaching. It's my business partner who is my mentor, who is the one who is teaching. And I talk to the students a lot. I help them with like some like solving some of the questions that they have and answering some of the questions that they have. And what clicked is, I think it's one of the students that his life is totally changed because of his experience with us. And it's in a record time, in like 6 months' time. So when he first came, he was a semi-retired business person. And he told me that he wants to transition into retirement. And then he doesn't have a lot of money to spend. And then he's just signed up, our trading room, just want to look at some trading signals and commentaries and stuff like that. And I can totally understand that. And afterwards, he said, I would like to give you a testimonial. So just like now, I invited him on a call. And then I asked him what he got out of it and everything. And he said to me, like, what got me excited is not that I made a lot of money from the trading signals or the commentary. Is the first time around, I begin to understand what WD GANN is about. Because WD GANN's his writing is very cryptic, and even you do courses, the courses are very confusing. Most of the courses are very confusing, and it just leaves you more confused. And then he goes like, this is the first time I kind of like have a different lens of looking at WD GANN's work. And he said, to be very honest with you, I just put a little money into my trade. So I'm not going to make I'm not making a lot of money, but those small wins got me very excited because I know I'm on a way of discovering something more meaningful in trading. So I'm very happy for him. And then afterwards, he signed up another course with us and he got a book from us. And then 6 months after, he suddenly sent me an email, and my business partner, the trading coach, an email and thank us for what we've done. And then, he said, he's so grateful. And then I said, we really want to invite you to another call again. So I got another call with him. It was like 6 months after the previous call. And then he said to me, he has transitioned into retirement already. And he is a modest guy. So he's not like those who like to show off. And then he said to me, Agnes, I've created a cash machine from trading. And cash machine is his exact words. It's not I come up with it. And then I said, tell me more about it. And he goes, now I bring in consistent profits every month. And recently I got a car. I bought a car with 2 months profit that I made from the trades. Wow. And I said, can you tell me what car that is? He goes, and he's a very low-key person. He said, I'm not going to disclose the brand, but I'm very happy with that car, and it's a new car. And he said, whatever that he invested with us is well worth the money, because definitely the car costs more than that. And what really struck me is not only financially he's able to achieve that, and I have to be fully transparent. He has been studying GAN for 10 years. And he told me in the recent 2 years, he invested money into courses to dig deeper into learning more about it. So he's not a fresh new trader. Yeah. And then, but what what really struck me is they said, like, because most traders are when they trade, I think you can imagine it. Like, you look at the trading charts, like just going up and go all those candlesticks, and it can be stressful. So most people trade coming from a space of fear and hope. Some people told me that cross their fingers before they put in a trade, and it doesn't really help. And he said, now I'm coming from a space of joy. He goes, every time I walk into my office now, I turn my desktop on, and I feel I'm coming from a place of joy and calm, because I know this is how I'm going to create my income every single month. And that really lights me up, and that really makes me happy.
Well, it sounds like really what it is, if I can summarize in my words, you have given that person the ability to have control over their life, maybe for the first time. Right. And I think this is like, for me, being self-employed, I've got control over my life, but sometimes business is hard, right? But there are some lessons you can go and learn. And if you follow a system or a process, it becomes a lot easier, right? Like there is a, success leaves clues, right? I don't know if it was Tony Robbins, somebody said that first. And that's really what it comes down to. But I think the biggest thing is when you have that success, you can go and gain control back, where he knows that if he goes, I think if you make money and you're following a system, you know why you made that money. And if you lose money, you go backwards, you know exactly why you lost the money, right? Like, I'm
That's
sure
right.
whatever system you're using, you're not always winning 100% of the time, because life
Well,
doesn't work like that. But
no,
you need to understand that as long as you're winning more than you're losing, you're moving ahead, right? And not be concerned about the times maybe the positions have lost or whatever so much that you stop winning, because that's, I think, comes down to where it's more of a mental game, right?
that's right. And also, like, I think you have recapped it in a very nice and concise way. And then I think it's like the core is to help people to regain choices in life. That's what I'm doing. Because, like, I shared with you my experience with corporate just now. And before that happened, I thought I was in a cushy job that pays well. And I thought, like, not exactly indisposable, but I thought, like, I have contributed.
You're valuable.
Like, yes, I have bring in clients and all that, and I think I should be safe there, but it doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
And then what it taught me is you really have to create choices for yourself.
100%. And put it that way, we spoke about before the show that, who Myron Golden is. And one of the things that he taught me is this thing: life is always working for me. It's either working for me where, I'm happy, everything's going my way, or it's working on me until it can start working for me. Right. And I think the experience that you've had, you know what, you were not made up to be in the corporate world. There was something a lot bigger and better for you, which brings me to the next question. If you had to sum up, your mission, in a sentence or two, what would that be? And I know that you're working with a partner. Like, what is the mission of what you are doing together, if you had to describe that?
Our mission is to create a life for people where no economy or no bad economy and no bosses and no life stages can touch. And with that, inside that, you have the resources, financial resources, time and energy to create memories with the people that matters to your life most.
Oh, that's powerful, because I think when it comes down to finance, and I've always said this as a, recovering CFP former advisor, I always tell people, I thought the financial business was about money. It's not about money. It's about all of the other things. Again, the name of the podcast, Make Life Less Taxing. It's not about taxes itself. Life is taxing in so many different ways, emotionally, not only financially and, energetically. When you work with people, how does the work that you do really help people to move towards that kind of life, that it becomes less taxing for them?
In fact, I really love the name of your podcast.
Thank you.
So I'm just recalling the time I talked to my clients. So what's taxing them is the uncertainties in life. And financially will be, having the options, the time that they can leverage, and energetically will be they quietly burn out from their job. So what I do is finding out, the hidden taxes inside them and what they can do less, and use that time to learn the skills, which for us is trading, that with that time they can, it's not about like having them to quit their job, it's with the time that carve out and use that time that can create leverage in their life. That will be creating like money and more profits. But as you said, at the end, it's not money, because money, I think the first step is everyone is fascinated with money. And I'm not going to disagree with that. I love making money. But the thing is, what you do with that money is important. Like, so what are you doing with your savings account, whatever account, if you just see the numbers there without doing anything with your money, right? So at the end, it's just use that money that you created to create memories with your life. Because a lot of clients that I talked to at first was about their children. They want to better take care of their children, their parents, and also their team members. So it's about that leverage that I want to create for them in their lives.
Yeah. Oh, so let's expand on that word leverage, because I think it's a very misunderstood word. And I think in the financial system, when people truly understand how to go and use leverage, it can be something that's kind of like the difference between addition, kind of like saying, hey, what's 3 plus 3 is 6. But now if you just change the addition to multiplication, now you're at 9, right? So
Yes.
when it comes to leverage, what does that really mean to you in what you're doing and how you're helping people?
So number one is leveraging time. They don't have a lot of time. They are busy people. And the time they go to work, let's say the US hours, the market open hours, where everything is happening, is where they're at work. And no one is going to quit their job and try to do something new in the hopes of creating leverage. So it has to be something that can happen at the same time where they are doing their jobs, whether, they can be pilots flying a plane, or they can be doctors performing a surgery, so they cannot leave whatever they are doing. So it's like creating a system that they can do it after work, and then they put in their limit order, the stop order, whatever order that is, and then they just carrying on their lives and carrying on that job. And so meaning that they are not sacrificing the time or sacrificing what they are doing, because what they are doing is also something meaningful. For example, if they are doctors, they are engineers, they are pilots, we need those people in the society. It's not that we want them to quit their job. We just want them to get what they deserve even after their retirement. So that to me is leverage. And also, like, the more literal terms for leverage in the world of trading versus investing is a lot of times, people will think, so when I tell people what I'm doing, they were thinking, it's stock investing. And why don't I just follow what Warren Buffett is buying and selling? Because it's all in the public domain. It's not now with Perplexity AI. You can just get the answer in a split second. But the thing is, like, let's say for shares, like, do you have how much money can you afford to buy Apple, for instance, or Nvidia, or all those? And the reason why they can buy all those, number one, is they're using a lot of options as well. Remember, like, I don't know, I don't think you will pay attention to that, but in 2023, I remember that it's actually, he doesn't announce it. Soros doesn't announce it, but he is in his SEC filing that he sold all the buy options for Tesla as well as the shares. So that is how they make money. It's the leverage. And after that, Tesla goes sideways for some time. So that was like that was what happened. But my point is, because they are using a lot of leverage products like options, they are not going to put all their money into buying a stock, because that can be very, very risky. So let's say if you have a certain X amount of money, let's say $1 million, you're not going to use all your money on the shares. You may I may buy some Bitcoin, I may invest in properties, and then you're not going to invest $1 million on trading. But what is good about trading is you can use a small account and you double it and then you compound it without putting a lot of risk or putting all your resources into a shares that, okay, if it goes up, of course, that is great. If there's a rally, that is great. But if it's let's say going sideways or going down, like Netflix, for example, was a big plunge like recently. And then let's say if all your money are on Netflix, and then now you need money, you're going to sell at a big loss. And that's the reason why leverage is so important. You don't need to put all your money in one basket and all your money in shares or whatever. You can just use a small part of money and to multiply. And of course, you all compound. And of course, you need to know how to do it. And you need to know how to protect your money so that you won't lose all your money. So you need to know how to play your stop loss and everything. And that is what is the beauty about trading and leveraging.
Yeah, I think leverage is often misunderstood what that really means. And a lot of people, again, needs to understand what I kind of heard you also say, that leverage is actually having a system, having a process. And I think the reason people are afraid of the stock market is because they go in without really knowing what's going to be the trigger to get out.
Yeah.
Right. And I've heard that explained to me even about a business, right? A lot of people start a business and the first thing they need to figure out how to get out of the business. And it's like, oh, that's not important because that's going to happen years down the road. Yeah, but is the most important thing, like, because those are the rules, those are kind of the guardrails that you have to set, knowing what it is, and regardless of what's going to happen, because then you're just working on luck, almost, right? Like,
Yes.
and I think this is where a lot of people are kind of afraid, because like you work with a lot of people who want more control, but often they don't trust themselves. So what is kind of that first shift that usually they need to make to to kind of overcome that?
Okay. A lot of times, like when you said you don't trust yourself, is a feeling. It's based on, for example, past experience. You do something, and then the outcome doesn't turn out to be what you want it to be. So that's the feeling of not having that you don't trust it because it didn't happen the way you want it to be. So trust itself, the number one thing is you don't trust your feeling. And trust doesn't come with confidence. It's not like, I fake it, I'd be more confident and then I would trust myself. It doesn't come with that way. Actually, it's as what you said, it's about following the rules, and even following the rules when you feel it's uncomfortable. And I can use an example. Like if you go to the casino, and I believe most people will agree that casino, they make money. They make money and then you lose money most of the times. And the dealer follow a strict system. Let's say the blackjack table. So if they have what they call a soft 17, which is ace to 6. So according to the casino's rule, the dealer must hit. So there is no discretion and there is no hesitation. They have to. They must. And the dealer wouldn't be thinking, oh, there's a lot of high cards out already, and I'm not going to hit because of that. Yeah. So you're not going to make a decision because you are guessing this and guessing that. You just follow the rules, even if you feel uncomfortable. And this is the kind of emotional neutrality that helps you to make the kind of decision that you need and ultimately build that confidence. And that's what the casino gets it right.
Yeah, you bring a great point on that, because I think that's where a lot of people make mistakes is they don't have they do have a strategy, but no strategy is a strategy, but it's not the best strategy that they could go and use, right? So that there needs to be some
Yes.
type of rules or things that they're following to make sure that they know what needs to be done.
And also sometimes following the rules is so uncomfortable because we all have a voice inside us telling us, oh, this is dangerous. Don't do this, don't do that. And especially like when it comes to trading, when you have a few losing trades in a row, you have that inner voice telling you what to do and what not to do. And so I think the most important thing is you have to follow the rules, even if you feel uncomfortable.
That's a great point. Yeah, turn off the brain. I've got a saying for that. There are
Yes.
times where you just got to turn off the brain because and often it's uncomfortable because it's new, which is a whole nother thing, right? Whenever you're doing something new, it feels uncomfortable. So you know what? Let's talk a little bit more about the GAN method. What makes this approach so unique?
So WD GAN was a legendary Wall Street trader. And so what made him so special is there was a person who documented his trade for 25 days. And I think he took hundreds of trades, both on the long side and the short side and different financial assets. And he has I can't remember the accuracy rate, but like maybe 90 or something. Wow. He can call the tops and bottoms and even sometimes to the exact hours or minute. And this is, to be honest, this is unheard of, even quite frankly today. And afterwards, there is a person called Richard Wyckoff recorded and reported all these in a publication called Traders and Investment Digest. So think of it as the Wall Street Journal today. So it's a reputable publication. So it's not some hearsay. And that's how GAN become very famous. And then he uses geometry, sacred geometry, price, financial astrology, and a combination on things. And if you ask me, okay, that was his trading record that makes him so famous. And people were so fascinated by how he did all those calling all those tops and bottoms and the exact price and time. And then his trading methodologies is totally different. As I said, his combination of mathematics, sacred geometry, and astrology. But most of the financial indicators that we use today are created by mathematician, which is mathematics. And I'm sure you have heard of moving average, right? Mm-hmm. So I think that can be used as an example to share what is the difference between the trading methodology of WD GAN and the other ones. For example, for moving average, I'm sure you heard of people using, for example, when the 20 days moving average cross the 100 days moving average and you buy or you sell, something like that. And the problem with that is, okay, when it cross, you do something. When the two moving average cross, you do something, meaning that there is a time lag. It happened already. So it's a lagging indicator. So only if the trend continues, the indicator will be useful. But if the trend suddenly goes sideways, for example, just like you say, what if I got into a exactly wrong time and then, it suddenly go down for 6 months, so my money is held there. And so it doesn't work with a sideways market because you can't predict that. That's a lagging indicator because it crossed first and then it gives you a signal. And then there is another commonly used indicator called RSI. And RSI is kind of it's the flip. It's anticipating the market to do something. And it's anticipating the market to go sideways or range bound. But again, because it's anticipating, it just hasn't happened. So the market can continue the trend as well. So RSI doesn't work when the market is trending. No. But the problem is you don't know exactly the market is trending or sideways until everything happened after the fact. So what GAN is different from that is because he used a lot of natural laws. Just think of it like gravity. So gravity, you can never deny gravity. There's
It
gravity
works
there.
100% of the time.
So,
I use that as an example. Yeah.
yeah, so he's kind of like, okay, he helped you look at what the market is doing right now. What is the structure of the market right now? So you can make an assessment and trade. Of course, nothing is bulletproof, nothing is 100%, but you have the structure to follow. And today I just wrote a post. I think it's yesterday. I wrote a post on my LinkedIn on Netflix. A month ago, I said, because of all the deals that's going on, Paramount, Netflix, and all those like crazy dramas going on, so the price keep going down. And then I think a month ago, I said the price is going to hit like $84, $85. And the reason I said so is not because I know how to interpret the news. I don't actually. Because everybody knows sometimes there's good news out, the price go down, sometimes bad news out, and the price goes up. I don't have that knowledge or that ability to interpret the news.
Would be great if he had that knowledge. And if you ever do find out, you tell me. We'll make a lot of money.
No, I think we need to talk to Warren Buffett's team. I have no knowledge of that. And then it's because I saw the structure. I was using the square of 9. I saw the structure. Okay, this is the key resistance, and so I found out that point, and I said, the next critical resistance is going to be $85. And I think at the time I was saying that it was still above $100, and it was like a month ago. And so it hit yesterday. So the point is not about an accurate or the system is accurate all the time. It's about you having that structure that you know you can follow. At least, for example, even you are not short selling a stock, you can choose to exit at that time. Or even you are making money from that stock, you can exit out of it to lock in a profit. There's also a lot of times it doesn't really matter you are a trader or you're an investor. A lot of people like to brag about, I make a lot, I make money, I double my investment, whatever. But you don't double your investment unless you exit and you take profit. Otherwise, it's just on paper.
Yeah. No, you bring it.
About like, there's a structure to follow.
Yeah. No, definitely. And you brought a couple of things which is kind of interesting, the secret geometry and all of that stuff. I mean, there is a lot of clues when it comes down to in nature, with triangles and all that stuff. I'm not an expert on any of that stuff. I just know that there is a lot that can be learned from there and how everything's structured and how everything kind of works in harmony. And we as human beings, and I think even markets, there are certain things that are probably predictable, right? That happens a certain way. Like we as human beings, we're very habitual. We're so predictable. And most people do the same thing over and over again. I talk to people, and again, we were talking about personal development. I always tell them, chances are that you drive home the same way every single day and you don't even notice that. And they don't think about it. They just keep on doing it. And I sometimes do it from I'm driving somewhere and I literally just go and almost drive in the opposite direction just so that I don't go in the same way all the time. So that kind of like, hey, I'm alive, right? To kind of feel that, way.
That is a good thing, is training your brain.
Yeah. And we have to, like, our brain is very predictable, and our brain is what most people don't realize, that our body has been designed in a way to be lazy. And what I mean by that is the only function of our brain is to keep us safe. So whenever something new is introduced, it's viewed as danger, and we will go and stay away from it. That's, I think, why a lot of people don't do new things, because it's easier to do the same thing over and over again. People don't challenge themselves and looking for kind of new ways of doing things, or doing it a little bit differently, So
but that is
in your view,
sorry. So that is a good thing if you're a trader, if you can just follow the rules the way you say, like, this is dangerous and don't do it. And like, if you can operate like that all the time, you can be a great trader.
Yeah. So in your view, where are most people paying kind of the highest price without realizing it, either in money, time, or even energy?
I would say, for all the people that I spoke to, my clients, most of them are very successful in their career. And that would be a cushy job, a job that pays you very well and you feel safe. But the hidden tax is it doesn't leave you with a lot of options in life. The better you do your job, the more responsibilities that you're being assigned to, and then you have less time. And that is a vicious circle. And because you are very good at they are very good at what they are doing. And then some of them, because they are professionals, that is actually making a difference to lives of people. Like, for example, you are doctors, you are engineer. So that they are helping a lot of people through their jobs. So that gives them a sense of satisfaction as well, on top of money and status and everything. And then all that grouped together, I would say, is a golden handcuff.
So what do most people assume about money or trading that actually works against them?
A lot of people will think, especially for trading, is I don't have time to do it because the market happens when I'm at work. So I cannot look at my phone all the time. And that's the impression trading gives to people, because a lot of people are talking about day trading and they have to like look at the phone all the time, or they have to sit in front of the desktop all the time. But in fact, it's not. A lot of times, you can just put your order in and then you can just carry on doing whatever you're doing in life.
Until curiosity gets hold of it and you got to check it, but that's a whole other
Yes, yes. But if you're in the market already, and yes, of course that happens. And yeah, that happens. And there are times that, you want to add some positions or whatever, then and just quickly use your phone and do that. But there are ways that you don't need to do that.
Yeah. Oh, again, it comes down to just having the trust and knowing what you're doing and having the guardrails and deciding ahead of time what the exit or change is going to be doing, not doing it while you're emotionally charged because of something's happening. And I think, being an advisor, I feel like nobody ever lost money in the stock market. And when I'm saying that, what I mean by that, they lost it because their emotions got a hold of them, right? If
you
they
are exactly right.
Sorry, go ahead.
You're exactly right. I spoke to a client recently. He is in banking industry, so he said in fact, most of the time he has to watch the market, but he's allowed to trade. Yeah. And then he said to me, I like the system that you guys taught because it gives me an opportunity of putting my order in before anything happens, because it's exactly what you said just now. When I'm emotionally charged, I do a lot of things that I shouldn't be doing. Yeah. And I think that is most people will do. It's very challenging that you have to look at the market all the time and then you trade at the same time. And this is also brought back an interesting conversation with professional traders. Is so this, it doesn't happen in the United States, but honestly, it's not legal in any countries, but some people do it, is they have a side account. I don't know how they set it up. And then it goes like, when they trade with their own money and they trade with the company's money is very different. When they trade with the company's money, even they're watching the market all the time, they don't have that anxiety that much as trading their money. Not that they don't have anxiety, because you have to be accountable for the money that you trade for your company.
Yeah, but that money is not attached to your soul because it's not yours.
Yes, and that's a distinction, and that's the reason why I'm not leaving my job, because I have I'm good on both sides. I have two accounts, so it's about yes, it's emotionally charged when you have to look at it at the time you are trading. It takes a lot of training to detach that completely.
Yeah, no, I think. I think the point that you're doing, and like you said, it's going to take a lot of training, is to start thinking about it, whenever you have money and you can tell yourself, oh, I don't care if I lose this money. it goes beyond that. Like you said, you have to detach yourself from it and do it in a way that you're not emotionally attached, because when people lose money is where they get emotions, and usually that's when people start doing very irrational things,
Yes.
when that's involved, and that's where the danger really comes from. So when it comes down to even the change that you've had to make, is there an internal belief that changed everything for you once you kind of saw it differently?
Time. The belief is I don't have time.
Hmm.
And part of it, I still believe is not a belief. It's true. Like I always want more time. I want to stretch my time. So I remember when I first started learning trading, I have a job and I have a busy job. And um, and then after that, I moved to the United States. I have to start my life from scratch.
Hmm.
I want to build that stability. And I have a lot of things to learn. I'm not familiar with this country. I don't know what I'm doing. I cannot find a job here because that's not even advertising agencies. And even if there is, like they're not going to hire me because I don't know much about the United States.
Hmm.
And so I was like very busy every day. So ever since so there's no difference. Even I have a full-time job. I have a job that I'm very familiar with. And then I moved to a place that I'm totally not familiar. And then I still have that same thing of I don't have time.
Hmm.
And I always said to myself, okay, when I have time, when the moment that I have time, I can focus, I can do this. And what I realized over time is if I have to wait for that moment, it will never happen. Because there will never be a time that I have time. And if I have that moment, I'll be in serious trouble because something might have happened, right?
Yeah.
So what I learned is I have to show up even in a message situation and in a very busy situation. I still have to show up and do something that I think I need to do in order to become who I want to become. Otherwise, I will be always stuck at, I don't have time.
Yeah.
So this is a belief that I'm still working on. I'm not perfect. It's still a work in progress, but it's a shift in me.
Yeah. No, you bring a great point. And I always say, people say, or don't have time or say, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And it's like, well, you need to realize that tomorrow never comes. Like tomorrow will always be tomorrow. All you have is this moment right now, and it's now when you actually have the power to do something. So I think often when you say, oh, I don't have time, and it's like, well, hang on. If I have time to say I don't have time, I actually have time. Just go and do it right now.
Yes.
Just being of that, because now you're just wasting time trying to figure out when, what, how, and what's going to happen. Well, if you're thinking about it, maybe just pause and make a decision. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to go and do it right now, or I'm not even going to think about it, and I'm going to plan for it, put it into a calendar, and then go and do it at that specific time. Because what I've learned is when we say we don't have time, it's because we have not assigned purpose for the time in our life. And there is I can't remember what the name of the law is. I can't remember what it is, but there is a law that basically says that if time is left unassigned, it would fill itself. Same thing with money. If you have money and you did not give that money purpose, it will find purpose and it will find a way of disappearing from you, that you're not going to have it. But if you actually make a decision that, hey, I'm going to go and do this at this time, put it in your calendar, then you have a much better chance of actually accomplishing that task or whatever you were going to be doing, instead of saying like, oh yeah, I'm just going to do it later. I'm going to do it later. So,
Yes. So postponing is not a strategy.
yeah, no, that's important. So how do you define financial freedom now, maybe compared to how you may have defined it, early on in your career?
I remember when I first think of financial freedom is actually I was attending a T. Half Egger event.
Mm.
And to me, back then, financial freedom is having income without a job.
Mm.
Because to me back then, I realized there is no no freedom working in corporate.
Yeah.
And now I look at financial independence a bit different as having that certainty without panic, that security without panic. Without panic meaning that independent what the world is going on right now, you still have a skill to make a living and create money when you want it to.
Yeah.
So to me, that is freedom.
Yeah. You're almost touching, I mentioned to you kind of the 4 freedoms that I'm after: doing the work that I love, with whom I love working with, whenever I want, and wherever I want, right? Because that's kind of the biggest thing. So often we get stuck in these traditional ways of doing things, and often we don't even ask why we're doing them, right? And we just kind of get back into kind of the definition of insanity is keep on doing the same thing over and over again and then getting upset, we're not getting a different result. Well, in order to get different result, you got to change what you're doing, because what you're doing right now is going to keep on giving you the same result.
Yes. And what is great about the market is it won't judge you by your gender, by your work experience, by where you're coming from. So that is a good thing about market, is not being judgmental.
Yeah. Oh, there is a great story that I love. It's about a farmer that every day he was going to the market, to the village, and there was an unfortunate thing that happened, and the farmer's son, he was always with him, broke a leg, so he had to stay at home. So as he was going to the town people said, "Oh, it's so horrible to hear about your son, that he broke his leg." And the farmer just answers, "Oh, it's neither good or bad. It just is what it is." Right. The next day he's coming, and there was a war that broke out, and his son wasn't drafted because he had a broken leg. And now people were telling him, "Oh, it is so good for your son that he doesn't have to go to war." And again, he answered the same way: it's neither good or bad. Right.
Yeah.
Then next week he had horses, and the horse ran away. So he's walking all by himself. And again, people say, "Oh, it is so bad that," and again, he answered the same way: it's neither good or bad that the horse was back. The following week, horse came back and burned out 3 more horses with him. And again, people were saying the same thing to him, and his answer was always the same: it's neither good or bad, right? It just is what it is. And I think, whenever I hear that story, that's how I'm kind of looking at it, and that's how I'm trying to live. Whenever something happens, right, it's neither good or bad. We're the ones that given it this, kind of the definition of what that is. And the more we can hold ourselves in the middle, I think the easier life becomes, because we just realize when we have to make a decision, we're just making a decision. We're the ones that are going to decide as time passes if it was a good decision or a bad decision. And so often I see people where they're afraid of moving forward. They're afraid of doing something. And I think this might be the same thing as people are looking at trading and all of that stuff. They maybe don't get started because not only do they feel like they don't have time, but they're also afraid of making the right or wrong decision. And it's like, no, it's just a decision, right? All you just got to do if you're following the system is like, hey, are you winning? Are you getting more better decisions or things that are actually positive for you, that you're making money, than you are where you are losing money? At the end of the day, it's neither good or bad. It just is what it is, right?
Yes, and exactly. Like, I think also it's the cheapest way to start a side business. Like, you don't have to invest in any software or whatever. And then you just, let's say you bought a trading course. But let's say if you start a business, even paying rent for a month, and you have to sign a contract for the rent if you are, let's say, opening a restaurant or whatever. Right. So it's kind of like the entry fee is minimal in terms of if you really want to start a business. So a lot of times, whatever the fear inside us is not authentic fear. It's some kind of thing your brain is trying to protect you. And a lot of times, people don't even know how much money, for example, to start a futures account, trading futures as a day trader here. They don't even know how much does it cost. They thought it's costing a fortune to do that. It's just $2,500. And if you're living overseas, which some of the financial instruments are not allowed to be traded in the United States, but let's say if you're trading like in England, for example, or other countries, like you can even trade like CFDs with a lot of leverage and then a smaller account. So people have no idea that they can start really small. And you have to be, of course, you have to be really cautious in putting your stop loss and don't like blow your account or get a margin call. Those like the horror stories about getting margin calls, for example, is for people who are totally not paying attention and greedy. Like, for example, don't put a stop loss or whatsoever. That happens because of that. But a lot of times, because people hear those horror stories without knowing what exactly happened. It's just like anything that happens in life. Yeah. Like if you don't know what exactly happened, you just hear your friends saying certain things and you start to freak out. And you're not giving yourself an opportunity. You can powerfully say no to something. But before you do that, you can give yourself an opportunity at least to understand what that is.
I think you bring a great point, is having the understanding of what what that is, and having the information that you need instead of just kind of going in and doing something blindly, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, you know what? As we're closing the show, I've really enjoyed our conversation. I've got these, I call them the rapid fire questions. There is 4 of them. Just the first answer that comes to your mind is usually the best one. What's a favorite book that has shaped your thinking?
Recently is 2. One is Bible and Grace Message.
Well, you know what? The Bible, it's the number 1 answer. I can tell you that right now. I'm keeping kind of a mental.
Yes, I'm reading a verse every day, and then I'm reading a book called The Grace Message. And interestingly, I learned Bible from the Whole New Way. And what is so interesting is Bible is the greatest marketing book if you kind of read what Jesus say about the old way and the new way. I'm not going into that, but it shapes me my thinking.
No, listen, I personally believe that Jesus Christ, yes, was the greatest marketer. He was the greatest salesperson. He's like, again, very, because it's all principle based. Like, you know what? And I think this is where it comes down to, just like you said, gravity. Listen, gravity works. It doesn't matter if you're short, tall, pink, purple, whatever you have. You go on top of a building and you leap off. You're not going to sprout wings and you're not going to fly. You know what? You're only going one way. There is a lot of things. And I think when it comes to finance, when it comes to personal life, Bible, there is a lot of principles. And unfortunately, and this is again the movement that I'm building, keep what is yours. It's all about how do we get back to the original principles? Because right now, the reason we got to break away from all of these false principles that have been built, right, that people are following in the in the traditional financial system, right? If we go back to the original principles, people would be a lot better off because they will actually be doing things that are working for them more often than against them. Right.
Yeah.
So is there a morning routine or a ritual that you can't live without?
Doing 15 minutes of brisk walking.
Yeah,
because it fires up my brain.
Yeah. Yeah. I love going for walks. Is there a bucket list item that you haven't done yet?
More than one. Is travel to Norway. There is a cruise that a cruise holiday that I really want to go one day, and the Northern Lights and everything.
Awesome. Oh, that's I've never been on a cruise. Yeah, Norwegian cruises. I've heard of that. That sounds
really, Norwegian cruise that walk to Norway. It's not a big cruise ship. It's a smaller cruise ship, and it's like going to Norway. Yes, I went to Alaska before on a cruise ship, and I really like it. Great memories. Like yeah. And also I live in Canada.
Oh, sorry.
The trip is also great. The Canadian train from Banff to Toronto. That was beautiful too.
Yeah.
So
There
I
is a
went there.
cruise.
I always said to myself, I want to go there either summer or autumn to see the difference.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of on my bucket list that I want to go. Yeah.
Yeah. There is a cruise that goes down to Antarctica, which would be very interesting. I've heard of a few people that have gone on that. That would be
Yeah.
very fascinating, kind of at the tip of the world, on the opposite side where we are right now.
Yeah.
Uh, Now, is there a surprising hobby or interest that recharges you?
Um, Not that I can think of. Um,
Well, what do you like to do, off time when you're not teaching or trading and doing those things? Is there something that you do just to relax?
Playing with dogs.
Mm,
Um, so sadly, we put down our family dogs
Sorry to hear that.
May last year. And thankfully, I have two dogs. My neighbors got two dogs, and I enjoy spending time with them. And I also volunteer in dog shelters.
Mm, cool.
And yes, that makes my heart sing.
Yeah.
I really like it.
So you do have one, you see?
Yes.
I've got one last question. I call it the hot one. Fast forward to the end of your life and imagine that everyone forgot everything that you ever taught them, that you shared with them, but they do remember one message from you. What would you want that kind of last message to be from you?
Has it to be something that the purpose of my life or how they remember me?
It could be how they remember you, or it could just be like something that would be very important that you want them to know about life, about business, whatever way that you kind of think, hey, this is what I would want them to know because it's the most important part.
Um, what I want them to know is what I want them to remember me is like I love them. I think that is important to me. And about life is that we always have choices
Hmm.
and we always have to create and regain choice in our lives.
That's a good one. Yeah. Most people don't realize that everything in life is a choice. And the only
Yeah.
reason we do anything is because we choose to or we want to. A lot of people think, oh, I didn't have a choice to do that. You did. I mean, unless even when somebody points a gun at you and says, go and do this, you still have a choice to say no. You might not like the consequence, and I'm not trying to be dark in here with a gun and all that. You may not like the consequence, but there is always a choice. Unfortunately, when I was doing personal development, they used this example and they asked, do you believe that kids have the choice to go to school? And most people say, no, they don't have a choice to go to school. It's like, well, they do. But if they don't go, if they choose not to go, yeah, there will be certain consequences.
Consequence.
But because their consequence does not subtract the choice that they have, right? So
That's right.
everybody always has choice. So that's a very powerful message that
Yes, and also
that you
like
share.
very interesting you point out this because sometimes when I have conversation with like friends or families, when I said you always have choice, and then you can is a choice, and people get very angry
Yeah,
sometimes
off.
because they think there is no choice.
There's no
But you
choice.
know
Yeah.
that there is a choice. Like for example, like there's no. That example is a bit dark. I don't want to talk about it. But like that they believe when they believe that there is no choice, they get very angry when you tell them
Yeah.
life
No,
is.
I agree with you 100%. No, that's where I said you always have a choice, right? You might not like the
Yes,
consequences of that choice, but you always have a choice. Uh,
yes, exactly so. And then and also it doesn't mean that you make a choice and everything is going to be like pretty at the get-go. You may need
yeah.
to work through something and people don't like it.
Yeah, no, exactly. No, no. Wow. Thank you again for coming and sharing your journey, Agnes. It's been a perspective shifting conversation. Where can people find out more about you and the work that you do?
Um, they can find out more about me on my LinkedIn or my website, which is
Yeah.
gannexplain.com.
Okay. Yeah, and we'll have the show notes, so that's perfect. Thank you. If you're listening, go and check out the resources that Agnes has. Agnes, thank you again for your time and your message. And remember, making life less taxing isn't just about money. It's about freedom, clarity, and purpose. Keep building wealth, keep protecting your legacy, and keep living your untaxable lifestyle. We'll see you next time on the Make Life Less Taxing podcast. Thank you again, Agnes.
Thank you. Thank you, Daniel.
Thanks for joining us on this episode of Make Life Less Taxing podcast. Be sure to check out our other top advisor interviews at makelifeLessTaxingPodcast.com.